Myself and Nicole here is just getting ready to vaccinate our cows for leptospirosis. The little two girls is coming up to give me a hand now in a few minutes as well. But I'd like to just show you something that was supplied to us by our local co-op. We have 2 local co-ops in our location here that we do business with, and one of which contacted me about a cordless set of clippers. They knew that I wanted to get a cordless set of clippers, and they're a really good deal running on a set, and I had a look on the website and I seen this set here that really caught my eye. So what have you in the box? Well, you have 2 batteries, which is important with any cordless device you ever get. You should always have a second battery. So you have the 2 batteries with this kit. 2,400 RPM, 90-minute charge, 90-minute run time, weighs about 1 kilo, which is very light, and it's got a 2,000 milliamp battery. So 2 batteries and 1 A5 cutter and combo blade. The co-op that I bought this in is McCabes Merchants. They're based in Canningstown in County Cavan. They're not that terribly far away from me. They're only literally up the road, so I've been dealing with them for years. They're one of my local co-ops. We get some of our feeds and bits and pieces of equipment as well. Those of you that ever watch me using my welder, that's another thing that catches a lot of people's eye on this channel. The welder seems to get an awful lot of response. We get huge amounts of messages about that welder. It's a Jefferson welder. It was a 160 inverter welder. Well, they are the main agents for Jefferson, so that's where I go to get all my bits and pieces for my weldings. They have them all there online if you want to go and check them out. I'll stick a wee link down to them on the description there if you want to check them out, because they have all that stuff there, and their online shop's kind of new. Their store is packed, and they have a big mill there, so they're well known. You probably, if you're in Monaghan, Cavan or Meath or some of the surrounding areas, you probably know McCabes Feeds because they have a lot of lorries on the road, so you guys might already know them. I have list top clippers there you would have seen in other videos that I use for clipping my cows, and that's what I use really for clipping the cows. But for cows' tails, all I use is the big clippers. You get the hand clippers, you probably know them, probably a set there. Here's an old set here, actually, here beside me. That's an old set. I have a new set in the parlour, and that's what I kind of use to clip the cows' tails as I'm milking about 3 times a year. Tails can get very dirty and they can get heavy. A cow can do you know what on her tail in the summertime when her dung gets a little bit looser, and then what happens is it gets heavier and heavier and she gets a harder and harder lift, and it builds up and builds up. So you kind of have to keep them trimmed and kind of keep them maintained so it's comfortable for the cow. It's a lot cleaner as well. The cow will be a lot cleaner. We clip them as we're vaccinating them, and if it does rain in the middle of it, at least we know which ones we've done now that we have their tails clipped as they're being done. So it's a good way of marking them as well. So let's get at it. You always know when that time of year is here, when cows start to roar more when they see you in the yard. Well, I don't mind the calves, they roar anyway. But the cows roar when they hear a rattle of a gate or anything like that. They're associated with getting outside. They know the time of year is here and they should be really starting to be outside now. We were probably one of the few that didn't put ours out in this locality. It was a little bit cold and I knew they were going to have to come back in because the weather wasn't giving great. And I'm kind of glad now I didn't let them out, because when I put them out, I don't want to have to bring them back in again. So hopefully that'll be very soon. Cows are clever, a lot cleverer than you think, because when I close these doors now, I'm going to let this side out into the yard. We're going to do them with lepto first. But they'll not want to come out of the shed because they'll lie that gate isn't open to go anywhere. And they know that the cords and things that we'd nearly set up to let them out aren't up. So they're saying to themselves, hey, what's going on here? There's something happening. We must be going up in that chute for some sort of an injection, so they won't want to come out of the house. That's what happens. Anyway, they will be coming out of the house because we are going to vaccinate them. Right, so we have the first batch in. Now you remember I said before with the little problem we have with our chute, you're going to see it again, so there's no point in even commenting on it because I know it's not the easiest chute to use. We only sometimes put 3 in instead of 4 because they have a tendency to not want to go up, and because they don't see light at the end of the tunnel. You can't blame them. It's kind of understandable. We will be putting a new cattle crush up this year against that wall, and when them cows are in there, they'll be going in that side on a long kind of turning gate and coming out this side. To do is open that gate and they'll go straight out, or this gate will be opened and they'll go straight back into the house. It's a perfect setup for it. It'll make life much easier for me. I just cannot wait to get it done. Whether we'll go for a grant on it or not, I don't know. It won't take an awful lot of money to actually put it in. You don't have to go over on a board. I can build and weld a chute myself. A few RSJs and a few bars if I want to go down that lane, which will be tidy. and it'll be very, very strong, that's for sure. You go down the lane for the grant, then we'll have to put in something a little bit classier. So we'll make their mind up now in the next month or so what we're going to do. But anyway, we get these cows in. The 3, that's it. Go easy, go easy, go easy. See, it all depends on the first one that goes up. If you get a cow that's stubborn, that goes up first, she's the one that will rule where the cows go, because if she goes in and just stands there, she blocks the rest of them. You have to let them all back and try to get her up then on her own and put her into her place, if you know what I mean. Now I can use this guy here, put the first cow up, put that up behind her, and then bring in 3 cows. Because once they see 1 cow up in front, they'll know then behind, well, she's up in her place and she's alright, so we'll go up in behind her just to see what the crack is all about. So anyway, we're going to start vaccinating because it's getting very, very cloudy, and I'm hoping at least we can get the first half of them done before the rain does kick in. So the vaccination we use is Leptospirosis H. It's one we've used last year as well. Last year was the first year we actually started vaccinating the cows. Couldn't really care less what brand it is, as long as it solves the problem. This little Prima, what was it, a 6mm syringe, I bought it about 2 years ago. It makes the job so much easier. Definitely buy one of those, they're not expensive. You get a couple of different adapters for different size vaccination tubs, but this one just was into the pin here. Push it into place. There it is. Down to the clips. Set our vaccination level to 2mm. That fills, get the air out of it first. There we are. First cow ready to vac. In behind the shoulder. That's it done. Next one. A little bit more room now so they have, because there's not. There we are. Shoulder. Done. I'm so looking forward to using this. This should be awesome. I'm calling clarity on this. Oh wow. How handy is that? What would it take? 10 seconds with the tail clipped. Definitely a good investment if you're milking cows especially and you want to have tails nice and clean in the milking parlour. You can clip them now in the milking parlour really fast. Yeah, happy so far. That's 60 done in what, about an hour? I'd say about an hour. I've no real watch with me, but I'd say it's about an hour because it seems like we're not here very long. I'm zipped up because the top of their hair's gone down. Nothing to give you an itch like a cow hair. But anyway, the clippers, what do you think, Nicole? They're just seriously good. Them clippers are awesome. I knew they would, but it's kind of one of those jobs where you say to yourself, why didn't I get one of those years ago? I know they can be slightly expensive, alright, but if you have a number of animals to do, they'll pay for themselves in no time because the animal will be so much cleaner. It's very windy here at the minute. You can hear the gates rattling. The weather's still very unsettled. Right, we are done. I do a lot of welding, and most of my welding is all stick welding, arc welding if you want to call it. Welding stuff since I was 8 or 9 years old. It's just something that came natural to me. I kind of was self-learned, and I just took into welding everything. I'd weld day and night. I absolutely loved it. But one thing I never had in my workshop was a MIG welder. I was always kind of afraid of them. I always thought they were a wee bit more fiddly than other welders, and it kind of put me off ever purchasing one. But it was always in the back of my head to get one. The one drawback with arc or stick welding, if you want to call it, was the thickness of steel that you can actually weld. Sometimes I'm welding piping like frames, maybe on a quad there, or frames and little go-karts that I actually do build from time to time. Some of you probably didn't know that, but I do kind of fabricate little go-karts and things every so often. We just have a little bit of fun on the spare time in the long summer evenings. And the stick welder was never any good for that. So it's a Mighty MIG 190 by Sealy tools. I have Sealy stuff that I use already. I have them in wrenches and tools, and this was a recent purchase I bought back just before Christmas. I think I bought it on Amazon myself. I won't be putting up any links to it. It's a little bit harder now to get these things through Amazon, so I'll let you search it up yourself. If you want to get a model number, there it is, CP1202. I know a lot of you are really interested in that. I bought it as a kit. It came with 2 batteries, and I have to say I'm using it all the time, and it is simply a great little tool. I think it cost me around €79, the whole kit. There might have been a little bit of postage charge there as well, but I'm really happy and I'm glad I got it. The battery seems to last forever on it, which is great. I've never put the other battery into it yet. It's always raring to go, so great little tool. So I was really impressed with it, so that's why I went with Sealy again and got this machine here. I do intend to make a lot more videos down the line based on fabricating and building stuff, especially in the summertime. We'd be fit to roll out more videos where I'd be fit to hopefully one day get my workshop built and be fit to pull things in at night. That's really what I do enjoy doing. I like building stuff with my hands, and a MIG welder is definitely going to be something I should enjoy using. I have to buy a gas bottle for it yet and a few things, so it's going to take a bit of setting up, but I'll show you the process over the next over a video or two down the line. I'll show you the process of setting it up. The job of doing this slurry tanker when we get to it. So Nicole, just put your foot on the brake there. Push it down hard. There we are. That's a lovely leak there. Let's see if there's a split or something. I could be extremely lucky, and it could just need to be tightened. But I have a feeling, by looking at it there, that it's nothing to do with it needed to be tightened. And it's a pity, but we'll have a look at it now and see what way it is. Well, I am over the moon. Connection was tight. I'll just show you first. Nicole, put your foot on the brake really hard. No leak. I was sure, as sure could be, there was no other option but taking that pipe off to fix it. But then when I got Nicole to sit on the tractor and put her foot on the brake, I got to have a proper look at it. And originally I thought the leak was coming from around here, but it wasn't. It was coming from in here. Now, I took it off, and hopefully I was fingers crossed that it was just loose, because that'll just be awesome. It wasn't loose, it was tight, so I thought to myself, yeah, when I was opening it there, it was tight. But then I looked, it looked to be off center, it looked like it was tightened, not on the wrong threads, but it's hard to explain what I mean, but there is a little bit of a sleeve here. So if you tighten this, it pulls this kind of together, and when this pipe was obviously put on, there must have been a bit of a pull down or a strain on it, or maybe someone tightened it when it was on the tractor. And I took it off and I seen that it was crooked. I put it back on again straight. Problem fixed. What a relief. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this shaft off, which is brand new. We're going to take every part of it away with us, and we're probably going to have to take this cover off as well and take the whole lot up to Lakeland Machinery, and we're going to have a discussion with him about possibly getting a wide angle shaft. Just going to give options of what we can put on and what we can't. So just back from Lakeland Machinery with Evan and Jared, and we had a long discussion about what was the best options for us when it come to replacing the shaft on our slurry tanker. I know I spoke about going down the hydraulic route, and you can get a grant for it on the Thames too. With the tractor that I have currently, when I'd go to put a dribble bar on this tanker, now I plan on keeping this tanker for a long time. Cosmetically, we're going to be fixing it up. It's got a brand new pump on it. It'll have brand new wheels on it now, hopefully in a couple of days time, because they're coming next week. So it's going to be a really good tanker. So the dribble bar is something I'm probably going to add to this tanker down the line. We're probably going to apply for the grant there and try to get the dribble bar put onto this at some stage, because that got me thinking then about, with the hydraulic driven pump we fit to drive the pump that's on the tanker at the moment and the dribble bar unit with the macerator as well, and with the litres per minute that this tractor's putting out, I'm not sure what it's 60, 70, whatever it is, it probably wouldn't. Now, I've seen it work on other tractors with the trailing shoe and the dribble bar, not a problem came, but they were much bigger tractors. I was just a wee bit worried about that factor of things. No problem running the pump on its own, no problem. But for the future, when we go to put on the dribble bar, I don't plan to get rid of my Massey anytime soon either, because it is going really well now. So we made our decision. Our decision kind of was easy in the end. And we'll just walk around here and show you exactly what we did pick up in Lakeland Machinery. This is a Walter Shield wide angle shaft. Brand new, off the shelf, and that is what we went with. Now, a lot of you mentioned the Water Shield shaft and said they were a real good shaft. They are cheaper alternatives you can buy. A lot of you know, if you have a wide angle shaft, how much these cost. They're quite expensive. You could have got one that was half the price, but the reason I didn't go with that was it'd be a bit hard to get parts, or something broke on it, you kind of have to replace the whole thing, and they do break. But the difference with these Walter Shield ones is, if something does break, we'd be able to get the parts for it. And that's the kind of reason why I said it'd fork out a few extra pound, well, quite a few extra pound actually, twice the price of a cheaper one, and go for the good shaft, and hopefully we'll get a long time out of it. Now that it's sitting here, we're going to grease it all up first, and then we're going to fit it all up. We have to put a cone that's sitting here, a new cone, because our last cone was a lot smaller to suit the other shaft, so this is a bit bigger. Should be ready to go on. Jared at Lakeland cut it at the same size as the other shaft that we already had, and it should be more or less the same size. So let's get it greased up now and get it fitted. Oh, will it? No, so we're gonna have to widen this ever so slightly, just so we can get this grease part down there. Okay. Yeah. Get this cone on. Not the hardest thing in the world. Itself, so the shear bolt end definitely goes always in towards the tank. Just put it up here to make sure it's the right length, which it is. Clip our chain on like that. You don't want to have it too tight either. Definitely don't want to have it too tight, but you don't want to have it loose that it's going to get caught up here when the actual shaft is turning, because that's what will break it off. That is our new Walter Shield wide angle PTO shaft. So that will make a huge difference to me using this machine. It just means now, because we have a lot of small paddocks, and when you have a bigger tank like this here that's going to obviously cover more ground, it just means when you go into paddocks and things like that, you're not going to be turning it off and turning it on, turning it off and turning it on. Because I did notice, I have put out quite a few load with this already, that I was just doing that. Be right, on the 1600 I should have had a wide angle shaft in it too, because it was a bit frustrating after a while. You're just going over paddocks with watery slurry and you're going out quite fast. You were covering a big area with just a single tank, and you were turning and turning and turning off and on. So hopefully that will solve that, and that'll be a big improvement. I know a lot of you guys that commented on the last video all recommended this particular shaft. So thanks guys, thanks for the info. It helped us out a lot with making our decision, and hopefully it's a good one. That's it for the day's video. Myself, Nicole and Danielle is going to get ready for this evening's milking, because it's just after going 4:45 and we're getting very close to it now. We normally start milking in around 10 past, 5:15, because we milk kind of early in the morning. Stand back in the wind, because it's still quite rough weather at the moment. But I have to say, Friday 11 o'clock our merch store went live, and I cannot believe, nor neither can Roshi, nor neither can any of us believe, the sales that were in the first hour. It was simply incredible. A lot of stuff was sold out within the first hour, and I never expected that. None of us ever expected that. So thank you very much guys for supporting the channel. It means an absolute world to us. Lots of stuff that did go out of stock, like our body warmers, our hoodies, things like that. The body warmer especially was very, very popular. The hoodies as well wasn't far behind. They were sold out pretty much within the first hour and a half. The body warmers were in within the hour. But they are coming back in stock. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're all coming back into stock. Toddlers, hoodies, things like that, they're all coming into stock now in about a week and a half's time. So you'll be able to get toddler sizes in all the hoodie colours that you've seen on the website already. For the first time ever on the channel, I can now say there's a link to our new merch store in the description of this video and all over the videos if you want to check out what merch we have and if there's anything there to suit you. I'm going to leave it for there. If you like our content, hit that sub button, give us a like, leave a comment down below. We'll do our best to get back to them. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook and on TikTok. And until the next one, we'll talk to you again.